and welcome to the Elements of FAIR video series. This tutorial focuses on accessibility of research data. Accessibility means that data should be accompanied by access level information, which states who can access the data and under what conditions it can be reused. The data should also be accompanied with a license so that it can be legally reused. Access information and the license should be stated in the discovery metadata, which, as all of the FAIR elements, should be both human understandable and machine actionable. In practice, this means that computational systems should be able to find, access, interoperate, and reuse data with none or minimal human intervention. Note that the discovery metadata should remain available over time, even if the data itself is no longer accessible. When publishing and opening data, the easy rule of thumb is that data should be as open as possible and as closed as necessary, or maybe we should say as restricted as necessary. But remember, parts of the dataset can have different access levels, such as open or public, where anyone can download the data, embargoed, where the data is available from a certain date onwards, restricted, for example to research purposes only, or closed access level, if the data is very sensitive, and access can be granted only after an assessment process for a specific and defined purpose. Application and data access should be possible over the internet, unless there are specific reasons to restrict such access. Consider already early on in your project if there are any restrictions for making data publicly available, for example legitimate reasons such as privacy protection, ethical, legal, or commercial constraints. It is the data owner's responsibility to choose the right access level for the data, as well as to choose a data repository that endorses that. Data should also be accompanied with a clear license explaining how it can be legally reused. The license allows you to, for example, retain the copyright while allowing others to copy, distribute, and make use of your data. There are different license types, but the Creative Commons licenses, CC licenses, are most widely used and are machine actionable. Creative Commons license spectrum varies between public domain and all rights reserved. For example, a CC BY 4.0 license for your data allows the use of your data, but requires that the author is mentioned, whereas a CC0 license means that you give full rights to others for using the data. In practice, all licenses except CC0 might hamper reuse. For instance, it might be difficult to give precise credit if datasets are combined or repurposed. To find a suitable license for your data, you can try Creative Commons License Chooser, as well as ask for guidance from your home organization's data support services. Still, in the research you always have to be able to explain the source and lineage of your data, even if it was open data. Acknowledging the work of others is part of the ethical principles of research, and being able to explain data lineage gives credibility and trustworthiness to the researcher's own work. If you have chosen your desired access level and license for your data, but you still need to find a suitable data repository that endorses your selection, you can search repositories, for example from re3data, by filtering on database access and database license. Both access information and the license should be stated in the discovery metadata, which was introduced in the Elements of FAIR Findable episode. In short, discovery metadata describes what the data is about, when it was created, who owns it, and under what conditions the data can be reused. It offers information that can be used to search and filter information about datasets. The discovery metadata should always be open data, even if the data itself would be restricted. The metadata should be possible to retrieve using the persistent identifier of a dataset, using a standardized protocol like the HTML web protocol. Be machine actionable, at least in its main parts, and remain available over time, even if the data itself would no longer be accessible. Keeping discovery metadata accessible ensures that your work can be found and cited for future studies. Thank you for watching.